Hello folks! Well, in spite of being on a boat, we decided we'd have Stir Up Sunday because Christmas just ain't Christmas without cake. Thing is, yesterday got all a bit too hectic and we're having Stir Up Monday instead. This is the perfect recipe just for that, however. It's been knocking around our family for an awfully long time and it's called Never Too Late Christmas Cake. So if you're behind the curve, and you will be by the time this video gets out, as long as you're a week away from Christmas at least, you can still get away with it. So this is the one for us, for definite. You might be feeling seasick by the end of this because we're in a very swelly little harbour. The good news is the sea state is going to do the mixing for me. I'm going to put the recipe for this in the description below, so don't worry about all the quantities, whatever. First thing I'm going to do though is steep all the fruit in some orange juice, lemon juice with the rind, a bit of brandy. I think my recipe originally called for rum essence, but we do hard liquor in this house, so brandy's going in there, and a bit of nicely steeped cold tea, and we'll let that steep for a couple of hours and then we'll mix the other bit of the cakes and pop it in the oven. So here we go. Lemon rind, orange rind going in first. I've got a little zester thing, find that the easiest way, especially on a boat, takes less space, a lot less difficult than grating, and nice and quick. Then the juice going in. Try not to get the seeds in, or if you do, fish them out. I just use a fork. You could have a fancy lemon squeezer or whatever. You might have noticed my cooking's a bit hands-on. So then we have nicely steeped tea. We've got 150 mils going in there, and then we've got to weigh out some fruit. Quantities will be in the recipe below, but if there's any fruit that you don't like or you haven't got, then substitute it for another one that you do like. I'm not very good at following recipes. I mix and match depending what I've got in the cupboard or what I like on the day. And there again, I am not a fan of glassy cherries, but I love the cocktail cherries. So there's what's going in my cake. And I always put a bit more than the recipe says because you can never have too many cherries in a Christmas cake. A couple of teaspoons of cinnamon. Come out. And a couple of teaspoons of mixed spice. 3. Let's go for 3.
Cool.
Very important, splash of brandy. Don't skimp. Give it all a good stir up. And then let it steep for a couple of hours for the fruit to fatten. And I tell you what, it already smells like Christmas in here. Well, the recipe asks for a little bit of mixed peel to go into the fruit as well. Only thing is, I haven't got any. So I was up the market the other day. I've got me a couple of really nice thin skin mandarins. And I'm just gonna stick them on, give them a little wash. And chop them up and put them straight in, peel and all, and I think they'll be just as good as mixed peel, if not even a little better. There we go. And I've just put this in a slightly different bowl because I need the big one for the next part of the recipe. There. And you just leave it to steep for a couple of hours, or I like to try and do it the night before if I'm organised enough so that I can just get on with the baking first thing in the morning. So now for the rest of the cake mix, I've got 150 grams of butter. Not bad, I'll say so myself. Going in. And the same with dark brown sugar. Don't forget to zero the scales if you put a dish on. Very good. And 2 nice spoons of black treacle. Now, this is an ingredient, it's really difficult to come by if you're a sailor, but if you're in a nice little English place, or you make a stop in Gibraltar on the way to anywhere south, make sure you pick some up so Christmas can be a proper Christmas. You can get some sort of molasses in places that grow sugarcane as well. And then it's just a case of creaming the butter and the sugar and the syrup together until you get a nice homogeneous mix. If you have your butter nicely softened when you start, it makes this job way simpler. lots of boats don't even have an oven, in which case you'll have to do the cooking in a pressure cooker. Then you can go 3 eggs. Right, and now going in is 200 grams of flour. Whoops. Not too many waves just now, please. Go. And mine is gluten-free flour mix, so I can eat this cake too. But regular plain flour will do just fine if you're. So when you have a nice mix like this, and your fruit has absorbed all the liquid that went into the bowl. That's for the dog. Then in goes the fruit. Secret ingredient of this recipe, a few little pieces of chocolate or some grated chocolate. And a little bit of ground almonds. Not the bay leaf, that's just keeping the beasties out of my dry ingredients because we're on board. Give it all a right good mix. A few walnut pieces as well, just for a bit of crunch here and there. And now I'm just going to put that to one side for a wee minute and get the trays ready for baking. As with most things in life, the secret to good cooking is good preparation. So I have my baking tray. It doesn't strictly need to be greased because I'm going to fill it with lots of paper, but if you put a little bit of grease in, it helps the paper stay where you put it, and that does mean you don't have to scrap with it quite so much. So, Christmas cakes, the secret to good Christmas cakes is cooking them slowly for a long time. And to do that well, the secret that lots of people don't tell you is you need more than one layer of paper. If it's the difference between good Christmas cake and burned Christmas cake, splash the money and use an extra piece of baking paper. And so with this setup now, I've got 2 layers down each side and 3 layers on the bottom. Then it's just a case of spooning the mix into my cake pan. You can fill it quite full because it's going to rise, but only a little. The eggs will make it rise. And the secret to a nice flat cake is make a little dip in the centre, and that's where it's always going to rise most, and that will counteract the action of the... Just make sure the corners are nicely full up. That will counteract the action of the cake rising. There we go. Then you can stick it straight in the oven. And cook it slowly on gas mark 4 for about an hour. Once they've cooled down, I can give them a little feed, once with port, once with brandy, and then they're ready for decorating. Hopefully you've liked this video in spite of the rolliness of the boat and we haven't made you feel too seasick. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to see the next episode where I'm going to ice these babies, waves and weather permitting. Hopefully the rolliness of the boat hasn't put you off too much and you're not feeling too sick. And you're not feeling too sick.
6C.